Right. Welcome to another edition of Sports Journalism. And in today's class, we're going to deal with something else to do with. Let's say here. We're going to deal with something to do with covering the gap. Covering the gap. Right. So right, in terms of covering the game, as I said already, that we need to be aware that all aspects of the game interest the fans, and as we already know that we have a question that is an obvious question that the fans would like to know, that is, which team won? Who won? That's an obvious question. Alright, then we might think that, okay, because it's the audience, the fans are interested to know maybe the score line and who won, we must just have to be concentrated on that. But it is more to that than just who won the game, right? So when it comes to sporting events, we have a number of stories that could be written based on at what point of that particular event. So usually we have three major game-related sports stories that are written or are arranged by sports journalists. We have got what is called let's see here. Before I go there. Okay. All right. We have what is called the advanced stories, or advanced stories, or it's just called, like I said, these are three major. Where do we have this? Three major sports or sport or game, just say game related. Stories, right? So we have what is it called, as I say, the advance, and then we have the recap. This is automatic. Okay, the recap. Then we have what are called the post-match or post-game, the post-game analysis. post-game analysis. So the thing, usually, like, you might think about these type of stories that as a sports journalist you're going to be writing about. But the funny thing is, because as you know, sporting events, most of them usually the period is still that long period, based on that you might think that maybe the advance is going to be another day, the recap is going to be another day, the post-game is going to... This should be within 24 hours. All these stories. From the advance to the recap, as you're talking about, you are having a sporting event the same day. So it means you're going to have a recap, I mean the advance the same day. You might have the recap on the same day, the post-game, because the post-game analysis, you know, they're talking about after the game. Right? So these might not be far apart in terms of the time that they're going to be written, as compared when you talk about other type of stories, like not sports stories. They might be maybe different times, but this one, the time side is not that far apart. It might be within a 24-hour cycle, right? So if you talk about, let's talk about the advance, because the advance, it will be advance or the advanced stories. It depends on the way they're going. You might say the advance or advance the advanced stories. Right? So let's start talking about the advanced stories. The advanced stories those stories whereby they are composed, it's more like a preview of an upcoming game, right? You preview an upcoming game, and then you have comparison, you compare teams, then you compare players, then you discuss the team records, and you give the lineup. So it's not whereby, I think what you just have to know is that this, the advance, it means a game is a game today. You have been in seeing such maybe on Super Sport or even on NBC or any other station. Before the game, there's going to be a sports story that is going to be previewing the upcoming game. Okay, there's going to be a game today between. So it's going to be a program, or it's going to be a write-up that is going to be talking more about the coming game. So the content of that, as I'm saying, you are bound to find that people that are going to be talking about, okay, the team maybe Manchester United versus Arsenal. How do you see, maybe what is the record? Maybe for the past 3 games, Arsenal has won maybe this. For the past 3 games, Manchester United has won this. So you're going to be talking about the records, maybe past recent records of the team, even longer records. Then you're going to be comparing the teams. It's more like you're trying to give the audience that they can more like predict that which team between these two will be victorious. Because with the statistics you are going to be giving them, people will have an idea the way between these two. This team is a stronger team at the moment. Because they will talk about maybe how many teams, the past 10 games, this team has scored how many goals, and how many goals they did concede. So you would say, well, I think maybe this team in the meantime is stronger in defense. Right. So on the advance, as I said, you're going to have first of all, it's going to be talking about an upcoming game. It's a program whereby you're going to be talking about an upcoming game. And then on that you're going to have that comparisons of records, comparisons of maybe players. We're talking about players. You're going to be discussing, as I'm saying, team records. What is the record of this team? I gave an example that if you watch Super Sport, if you have ever watched, let me just say, if you have ever watched live match on the SuperSport, I do believe you watch any game. Statistics before, especially when there's a bigger game, you have a crew there. You have a group that is going to be talking about they will be even 1 hour before the game. So they will be talking about so many things. It's before the game, but it will be glued to the TV if you watch it, because there's going to be a lot of statistics, a lot of even stories relating players, what happened, which player, because they will talk about, for example, in this team, maybe their most dangerous player is this one. How can this one? So it's going to have, you're going to have those comparison of records, and what else are you going to have? As I said, the lineups. This team is like I can give an example. I'm saying that I've seen this scenario before. Like you are going to a football match, a live football match, and now you start broadcasting before the actual time. The match is going to start maybe at 9 o'clock. We might start the program maybe even 7:30. So you have 30 minutes. So usually, what people need to know, like they want to know the lineup. So what you guys are saying, like one of the person who's going to be commentating will come and say, okay, where's the lineup? So it means when you go, first of all, you have to find out the recent lineup of the two teams, the actual lineup. Because what happens there, like before the game, there might be some doubts whether some other players are going to play or not. So because there are doubts, you have even heard some other times whereby there is a player maybe who was injured and the manager is not so sure if the player is going to play until maybe the actual game. So when the match is starting, people they are curious to say, okay, is the actual player going to play? And two, you have seen whereby, because on the lineup, they are going to indicate which is the first team, which players are on the pitch. So that could be another point of discussion. Because you could know, for example, it's maybe Real Madrid. Now, if you have a lineup, they will show you, okay, first team, maybe by then, when there was Cristiano Ronaldo. So Cristiano Ronaldo is on the bench. So say, maybe in Barcelona by then, Messi is on the bench. So you see, so now it's going to be another discussion. You see, maybe this team, how can they leave Messi on the bench? Because this is their main line person or player, right? So you have such discussion. It's going to be a live program, or it's going to be on an analysis whereby you're going to talk about those. All right. So if it's going to be, as I'm saying, in print, because I talked about like in broadcast, in print is the same thing. Because if usually, I think it would depend on sometimes the teams, because you have late inclusion or late lineups sometimes, whereby you have the lineup right away before the game to say this is the actual confirmed lineup. Now, it's good for broadcast, because the broadcast, you broadcast that away. You have a program, live program there. But when it comes to print, if it's going to be print, is going to be a little bit depending on if the day before that day you had the information on the players that might, and usually on the print it's going to be most probable players, because they are going to be before the day some players whereby you know that maybe they are injured. They are going to be, maybe the team is going to confirm, or the coach, that this player is not going to play. So you might have knowledge of the players that are not going to play. If you are not so sure, then you just have to cast it down. Maybe this player might not play, whatever. But in this scenario of a broadcast, I'm saying it's more advantageous to broadcast, because it's going to be right before the game. Then you still have the lineup. That's where you're going to be basing your story on. And as I'm saying, is you'll be depending on that. But the bottom line is, as I talked about, you don't want to be, let let me say, monotonous. Yeah, because sometimes people don't understand. They talk about maybe the same things. Usually, you know that okay, the previous game we were talking about this. You try to be creative to bring up something that is a little bit unique to that. And here they said the advanced story requires diligence, but deadline pressure is light, right? Others will tell you that games are won or lost in practice, according to the athletes, right? But sports writers will tell you the same thing about stories. The key weight is doing research before a game, right? And then the reporter tries to find out all she can or all he can about the teams, the coaches, the issues he will be covering, right? So sports writers, okay, but this is a quote from the sports writer. But the thing is, as you can hear here, in each stories like this, the key is research, because you're talking about the game is not played yet. Then you have to be talking about something. Now you need to do your research to know what's happening between players or the teams. So you need to have that large number large amount of information, and then you need to make sure that you have adequate information through research prior to go on with this kind of problem. So there's the sports writer called Steve Sipple. He commented on this. What he said, background is the one time. Okay, background is the one time when I don't have to worry about asking the right questions. It's the one time when I'm able to relax and have fun while I familiarize myself with an athlete or issue. So it means if you know the background of the players, of the team, you are at ease, because you don't need to ask everything. Because if you don't have enough information through research, you are going to bound to try to be asking questions to get the information through interviews all the time, which is going to be boring somehow. But you need to show that. I think you have noticed that if you have ever listened to, let me just say, Super Sport or even English Premier League, even post-match games, you discover it's not everything. They're not going to be all the time giving you a clip of an interview. Most of the information, they're going to be just talking about them. And they're not going to be doubting. They will tell you, this player has scored 100 and something goals in this number of games. And he has played in this team, he has played in that team, and recently he did this. It has been 4 or 5 games without scoring a game. He has made blunders, and they'll give you statistics. There was this problem here. Like last 3 games, he didn't start in a first team. He was on the bench. This game, the coach confirmed that he's going to play. And so you're going to be given. So if you have all those information, it means it's going to be easy, because you just have to know which part you need to talk about. Which is the most important. Because if you are not conversant with other parts of what is happening, because I'm saying this background will even help you towards the end when you have to talk about these other types of stories. Because the reason, maybe one of the reasons that the team could not perform better would be because of a background, something that happened not during the game, but before the game. So when you are analyzing, you couldn't say, okay, because you already knew that there was this, and with the result of the game, you could confirm that. So that's the thing. So we have talked about, the advanced story. One of the important issues in terms of talking about the advanced stories, here it talks about this preparation. And let's see how you go about it in terms of advanced stories. How do you go about it? First, You read all the relevant information you can find from professional magazines, such as different magazines. It's more or less like that research I'm talking about. You first of all, when you read, for example, you want to put it in a print, then you go read. Why do you read? It's like if you send broadcast, it means if you can have chance with this modern time, whereby you will find podcasts. But podcasts, you know what podcasts? What podcasts? You know what podcasts? I think you have heard that term. This term. Podcasts. It's a new thing. You've ever heard about that? I believe you know that. You know that. Podcast is like right now, you know, like radio. You say like you cannot rewind the radio program. That's what we have been believing all the times. That radio, when you listen to radio, is gone. You can't rewind it. But nowadays, because of the advent of internet, what happens? Most of the radio stations, they record the programs. When somebody is presenting a program live, there's going to be a recorded program. So after the program, that recorded program, that radio station is going to have their website somewhere. So they are going to have a website, and on that website, you are going to see, like, for example, different programs. So what they do, that program that is recorded is going to be uploaded on that web page. So if it's recorded, it's what is like what is called a podcast, where it's a program, but it's not a live program. It's online. So usually, what you do if you have missed the program, I didn't listen to the program. What do you do? You go there, you on the internet and search only the radio station. You see the name of the program. Then you be searching. So you find the programs with the time and the dates. They will tell you, okay, this program maybe on maybe June. This is the program. So you can click it and listen to it. So I'm saying, if it's broadcast, you would go to that and listen. The reason of doing this is like it's not a matter just to listen anyhow, but you want to appreciate how other media or other radio stations are presenting similar kind of programs like yours. If it's written, if you go through other sports magazines, you'll be seeing the same kind of stories. For example, the advances. You're going to see how other writers are writing their advances, which means you could learn maybe one or two things. Most of them are writing like this. So you would decide maybe to adopt their style, or maybe to try to be creative. It's like because sometimes you might be doing some other things whereby you don't know what other people are doing. So you might be doing the wrong thing. So it's more or less like it will help you to know that what I'm doing in this program, I'm doing the right thing, because this is what people are doing. Something like that. So, as I say, you start by reading all relevant information you can find, because you know the program that is coming. So, okay, I'm going to cover golf. Now, it means when you go to other magazines, you go to check the magazines whereby they are talking about golf, and maybe they were previewing golf girls, whatever. Right, so you're going to go through that magazine and other sports materials, right? So, in doing so, you pick up on how others cover sports and discover possible angles you can use. So that's what I'm saying. It's going to help you, because I'm saying you didn't invent this. You are just one part of the process. So you need to check what other people are doing. And now, if you want to be creative, and it will help enhance your creativity, because you know, okay, other people are doing it like this. I can divert and do it like this, right? So you will be checking, like asking questions like, what happened in the last year's game? What's the history between the two schools? Because this is the information you get. You go past in the past magazines and say, oh, what's the program? Okay, well, this is what happened. Then after you go through that, then you can go to the process of now getting to know the team's vital statistics. You went through how other people are writing, but now you dwell now, secondly, on the statistics of the teams. Meaning, that's what I was talking about, you know, how many games did this team maybe won, how many goals did he score. So you go through the team's vital statistics, not just all ordinary statistics, but you check the statistics that is, outstanding. That according to that, maybe it's a poor run of games, maybe it's consecutive wins. So because those are details that could be interesting to talk about in the program, even to write about, than just other ordinary games. But sometimes they talk about, they have played in for maybe 10 games. That's not that important. But if you talk about maybe the performances, how did they perform? Maybe they have never won at this stadium since 1960 something. Statistics like those, right? So it means if they will win today, it's going to be a record broken. That they have won today for the first time. I think I've been hearing something like those. Well, while other people they are writing the story to say this team has beaten this team, which is an obvious thing. While someone is going to write maybe Big Bullets has won, has beaten in this period, which is going to be much more interesting. Oh, they have won here, like even in English Premier League. I heard like one of the teams like it won somewhere, and they say they have won at this ground since they have never won on this ground since 1930 something. Some they say 1950 something, which is a story on its own, right? So you are going to be checking on that kind of statistics. This knowledge will not only give you insights into how the game might play out, right? I.e., maybe the teams often gets out to start fast. For example, that's another statistics. Because there are some other, I think like Arsenal, a certain period, they had a period whereby they said, I think maybe not last season, but maybe the before last season, last 4 seasons, they were, when the league was starting all the time, they were starting only high. Only high, but when the season was going towards the end, performance was poor. So they did it, maybe something like, I think 3 consecutive seasons. So that is the statistic that we will talk about, that they have been winning, like right now, they have been but now they have started losing. They were not losing. So you say, no, but if you check those statistics, this season, they were also okay, but now when they came towards the end, they started losing. And usually when they started losing, they will lose maybe a game, they will lose maybe 3 games in a row. So this time around, the last game they lost, probably because of the last 2 seasons record, they might also lose maybe the incoming game. So you could have other statistics like those that you could do. But what I'm saying usually is based on the statistics that you have on the team, right? Then you are going to finally you are going to know the people you will be covering, right? Like go, because this knowing the people who are going to be covering, it's like this is not just a matter of like only the same day. You could have it the same day, but this is usually talking about that you go to maybe the training ground. The team is they're going to win, or even in Super Sport will be seeing something like that. Sky will be seeing something like that. But there's a game of Manchester United game. You see interviews of players at training grounds. No, not at the actual ground they're going to be playing. So when you go at their ground, what it means is because it's their, honestly, like their home, you are going to develop that relationship with the players. Because it is more a calm down environment. You know them, you chat personal issues. So somehow it's because you know them from where they're coming from. When you want to get other information, it's easy for them to be giving you information. Rather than they have never talked to you before, then you are meeting them at the actual ground. So imagine maybe they have lost. they've never seen you before, then you ask them about the girl. They might not give you much more information. But for you, you did your research, then you have the statistics, then you have that element now to also getting to know the players you are going to be covering. Okay, we're going to be, these are the two teams. Then you go to one of the team training. Like as I say, you go to practices and remain after the practice to speak with players, coaches and trainers, right? So you go to practices and then after their practice, you make sure that you talk to their coaches, you talk to players, you talk to their trainers. So you hear a lot of things. How this is important is this. Some of this, especially at this stage, will be important because we have been hearing some of this sporting. So there are some other controversies whereby you discover that a player will quit like a team without clear reasons. So most of those reasons will be reasons that were not, maybe not did not happen at the match playing ground during the match. Most of them could be at their place. Maybe training camp. So you go there when you talk to their trainers. So you will be hearing some other information. Maybe the problem with this player usually maybe come late, or maybe so there will be some other. You would know that maybe there's tension between this player and the coach. You would be noticing some other things, and even you would get more information because most of the time during the matches, the interviews that you are going to be having during the matches. Coaches, they are good at giving out brief, short answers. They don't want to be explaining more after the game. They will just give you short answers to get rid of you. But when you find them under their training ground, they are more relaxed. They can tell you a lot of things, and most of them will be true, the truth. Yeah, but after the game, and it's a problem because I'm saying if you want to get information, now if you find them during after the game or at the training ground, at the actual game, you are not the only journalists. There are going to be maybe a lot of journalists needing the attention of the same maybe coach or player. So you might not have a chance to ask maybe relevant questions you want. So the only time is when you find them at their training place, it's easy for you to get much more information before the actual game, right? So it's another important step in terms of coming up with the advance. And right as I say here, you try to establish a good working relationship with them, right? With those players and coaches and trainers. And these people should feel comfortable coming to you with their story ideas, right? And in turn, they should be confident that you represent their comments fair and accurate. Because the problem of most of the times when they're there, they don't want to give you much information because they are not so sure if you are going to represent their opinion fair. Because they don't know, they don't personally know you somehow, so it's a problem. But if you know them personally, I believe that if you also recall some of the tricks of how you treat your sources, not just in sports, but as a journalist, like one of the tricks whereby, in the ways you maintain your sources. As we say, you don't contact your sources only when you want to get information from them. Because when you do that, all the time when you call them, they will know, this person wants to get it. You want something that to write, so they are careful. Because some of the comments they say, they might just, which are called off record, they might think that this information is not going to be published. Then you are published. So it's a problem. So most of the times, when you say, all the time you call them because you want to get information, they will not give you much information. But when you go to the training ground and as a professional, when you want to keep something on the record, you tell them, this should I write? Should I write about this opinion? No. This one, maybe this is off record. You saw it sometimes when you have the contacts and you might contact them or even at that training. you chat with them, not only about sports. You talk about maybe where did you go, where do your parents coming from? Oh, I'm coming from, or maybe you are from the same village. Eh? Oh, I say, oh, that's so you develop that personal relationship, whereby you talk to them as if they're just your friends. So once they know that I think this person is more like your friend, you call them sometimes whereby you just want to chat with them, ask them normal things. They might tell you, that's what I'm saying, in normal circumstances, when you have sources, as I said, how you maintain sources, you call them sometimes, they may, okay, I'm coming to that area, I'm having maybe a dinner, I can buy you a dinner or something. So sometimes you call them, you just want to chat, they'll tell you, no, there's also this information, and you get some other information. So it's important to make sure that you develop that personal relationship with these sources, especially and your sources, in this case, players, trainers, and it's important because sometimes people they think about only the players and a little bit coach. But you talking about the players, coach, even the trainers. When you go to that job training, it's important because there could be even stories like I talked about stories whereby it's a criminal story whereby somebody is accused of doping. You've been hearing about that. Somebody's been accused of doping. Most of the times, issues to do with that, these people like maybe trainers and other people are the ones who might have information about it. So you will get some statistics from them that no, that it's not true because this person has been like this. It's important on that. Right, so what else? Well, so I'm saying in 10 they are going to be comfortable in trusting you with information. And it's crucial that you prepare well for interviews with the sports figures. That's why I say you don't go to or you don't set up an interview with a sports figure without doing research. You don't need to do that because some sports journalists they blunder in that way, but they say, okay, we're going to get information from him, which is bad. But the thing is, there's some other information that you don't even need to ask him. You can research when you're asking him, make sure that you should be looking much more for information that when you search it, you might not easily find it. Or maybe you found it, but you want to confirm if that is true or not. So it's easy that just asking him obvious questions that when you say, maybe you say on the internet, you are going to find the answer to that. Yeah? And they will see you as a lady, why are you asking me this obvious question? Yeah? You see? Yeah. I remember in Malawi, there's a clip in Malawi, I clip you for certain coach called Pulula. That clip, I think the reporter was asking himself, as I'm saying, obvious questions. Yeah? And the coach was just like firing. Okay, how did you see the game? How are you asking me that how I see the game? You were also watching. You also watched the game. Okay. How the players? I saw. That's what you said. I saw that your players were tired. They look tired. Then what do you think was the reason that maybe Sega you also no. You have already said that you saw them. They look tired. So why are you asking me about? So he said, okay. I thought all the questions he was asking. This coach was just giving them back. So it was the problem was I'm saying, well, you're asking obvious questions. So when you ask obvious questions, and that's another problem whereby you are trying to get all the information most of the time, like I'm saying, the coach might not know this report. So he has lost the game. He is not in a good mood. Now, had it been that maybe this reporter had a relationship with him before that, he talked to him with him before somewhere, as I'm saying, training camp. When he see him, you will respect him a little bit. Oh, I know this person. But he was angry because he had never seen, and it's as if this person is bothered. So that's how you can see how important it could be to make sure that this sports, because what I'm saying, I'm talking about sports journalists, and you are a sports journalist. You should be like a specialist. So you should have that connections with these sports players or sports personalities around. So that's the good part whereby, you know, you could not have a problem to get, because that clip, that particular reporter did not get even one answer, straight answer. All the answers were like fired back at him with other questions. That it seems like you already know. One was, and he asked him, like, I think something was like a certain question, and he even answered him with a metaphor. Because he said, like, I said, you see, Jijewa. I think you know Jijewa, maybe I don't know if you know much Jijewa. I do believe you know much Jijewa, isn't it? I don't know how much Jijewa can erode you, but most of it you already know what that is. Like, you know what is called Chinyezi? You don't know? Okay. Chinyezi is like something like when you say, can I say June? Or like when you say in the morning, like on the bush, you have that water that is coming up in the morning. What do you call it? That. So it's because it's a warm, more or less like it's a humid. So most of the time, a place where there is a lot of water, you have put that because humid is humidity. What is it? It's like you have water now. There is heat somewhere. So because there's a template, it's the same like what they call it, osmosis, whatever, whereby from high concentration to low concentration. Now, water will be more or less like evaporating a little bit from where there are no water. There's no water. Somewhere where there's no water. That's why you see that humidity. You see? So in the bathrooms, it's more humid. So humidity is Chinyezi. So he was asking him about that. Now he was asking something. How did he give you a certain question? And so he said, no. What you're asking him, it's like asking like kufusa Chinyezi bath. You see? You already know that in the bathroom you're going to have urine, and then you're asking about that. I think that is obvious. So it's the same thing I'm talking about. That when you're asking questions, there should not be obvious questions. Questions that you know already that this question, even without asking this guy, I will know the answer. It's like it's wasting your time. But you see, better for you whereby you think about another question. No matter that I think that will help you. Is to do the same thing I'm talking about, the research. Because when you do research, you already know a lot of things. So questions you might ask are going to be much more relevant because you already know a lot. But if you know much, you don't know much, you are going to bound to ask basic questions, which is not going to be professional enough. So that's what I'm saying. As I say, it's crucial that you prepare you prepare well with the sports figures. Athletes and coaches are often too ready and willing and able to respond to questions with part answers, right? So if you are not did not do your research, they might answer partly, and you will think that it's the whole answer. Right? But when you do research, if they will answer you, maybe just give you partial answer, you will know that no, I didn't give you anything. You know how you answer just another question to know that you did. But I remember one of the game, Jose Mourinho. He was asked questions, he just answered like yes, or yes, no. It's like maybe two phrases. So then they just answer to get rid of you. They don't want. They're not even comfortable. They say after the game they should be answering questions. So if you ask, they should be. You should know that I think this person did not give enough questions. I remember even another player, I think sports figure, even reached that somebody asked him a question and he just says no. Then you get here without even just saying anything. No. So you have some other scenario, but the issue is, as I'm saying, you should be able to know whether if somebody sporting figure has given you a complete answer, or is a partial answer. So the key is making sure that you are prepared. How do you prepare? Research. You do your research. You go, you ask around, you read other people's write-ups or other programs, you check it out, and then you have all those knowledge.
Is it that important to ask questions after the game?
After? This is the recap. That's where we're talking about the recap, right? You see, immediately after, because in here, after the game is much more important even when you're coming up with the stories now or after. Because these are these stories I'm talking about here. I'm talking about you're going to write it before the game, but after the game, immediately it's important. If it's a broadcast, it's where you get the quotes, sound bites. Let me say quotes. I think it's in print. Sound bites, because immediately after when you ask them how are you feeling about this win, they will tell you, no, you know, this is great, because so they will tell you something else and you can get a sound bite. When you make your program, it's going to be outstanding, because it's immediately after. That's like a reaction after the game. You see, immediately. So you get good reactions even after just immediately after. Well, the only thing that I'm saying is still you do research and you know what questions to ask. How to ask them. It's not a matter of just saying, okay, I will ask them. Some they will ask as I'm telling you, the one I'm telling you, the example I gave you, where the Malay coach was just firing back. He was asking after the game, immediately after the game. So after the game, the coach was, angry. He lost. The team lost. Now, you have lost the game. Now somebody is asking you basic questions. Irrelevant. So that's where the problem was. But as I'm saying, you're going to find out that when we talk about the recap, it's you after the game, after the game, the post-game analysis, the game has gone, you are now analyzing. So the short answer is, yeah, it is important. It is important to ask them my questions immediately after the game, right? So I did hear talking about how often have you heard a coach say it was really a big win for us? You hear, like after the game, most of the people will say that this was a big win. But if you are not careful what you write, this is a big win. But if you are not, you don't know the background, people who are going to be listening on radio or even reading, they are going to be questioning, how big is this? Why is this big? When you say this is a big, it might be maybe they have won against a small team, but they might call it a big win because it will be there's going to be statistics applied to that game. That maybe when they win this one, it's going to be a 1,000 game win. It could be a record. So if you don't know anything about it, you'll be saying, okay, it's a big win. He's saying that it's a big win for us. But why is it a big win? So that's where it's important to say before that in those interviews, you should make sure that you have gone through all the relevant information, all the relevant records, you know them. So that when the team win, you already know that, okay, if they win, they will play these records. It's going to be maybe this number of something. If they score more goals, if they score a goal, maybe 5 goals, it's going to be, they are going to break this record. If they don't score, they are going to maybe have this level, maybe it's a poor level. So it is good when you have this kind of program, whereby you should know statistics about all the teams, for the teams themselves, for the players, individual players, even for the coaches. If people know that, okay, this coach, this is maybe like Jose Mourinho, this is how many he has won, maybe this level of trophies. So to him, if he wins this trophy, it's going to be this number of, it's a record. So a game will be a basic game, but after winning, you discover the coach is saying this is a big win. Maybe they have won a cup. This is a big achievement. For him, maybe it would be a personal achievement. That his record of winning trophies has reached a certain level. But for the team, maybe it's nothing. It's not that big. Now, so it's important where you can see that, oh, and evidence that I'm telling you, if you listen to Sky News, that's where you see issues like this. When people come in, or players are coming in, no wonder most of the presenters nowadays, they are only players. Because only players, they know a lot of statistics. So when they are presenting a program, you know the statistics they are going to be giving. And they also research, they also do research. You see? And when you hear the match commentation, it's the same thing. Whereby they are going to be commentating and then one player is on the ball, they are going to be talking about other players. You know, this player has played this number of games. You know, last time he was with this team. He's just played how many. So all those things. So they are important. They will help you in this program again to know what the important questions to ask. Because that's another issue. It's not a matter of just asking any question. Right? Because if you want to be different from your colleagues, you're going to be having competitors. Now, your competitors might ask you the same basic questions. And if you ask the same question, I think you have seen it in scenario like that in Malawi. We have seen it before. Whereby a story has come up, you discover a nation is carrying the same headline, then Daily Times is carrying the same headline, similar headlines. So the thing is, it's like they're doing the basics. They have discovered a similar story. Now they are used to say a story like this. Usually we cover it like this, and the headline we usually put it like this. These people again they say, we have covered this story again. So now you're having as if you're getting the same paper, which is a problem. But now if you want to be creative, it's where I say, okay, don't be basic. These basic questions maybe my colleagues might ask the same question, but let me try to ask further than the normal ordinary questions. So that will be another important thing. So what you do, as I'm saying, you have those information. As I say here, the information is this information is, or as I'm saying, where I say, this is a great win. We asked somebody, how do you feel about the game? This was a very big win for us. Now, this information is of little use to your readers. Because when you say a big win for us, for them, they will not know when you say big win, how big is that? Right? So, you must be prepared to ask as many specific questions as necessary until you get the information you need to write a genuine story. One with something that is insightful. Because if you have been writing stories, you should know, okay, for this story, what do you think is going to be in this story? There should be something. Because of time, most of the people just write without thinking much about it. But at least try to look for something that is insightful. Also look for trends, right? If you are observant, before long you will spot changes. Maybe changes you can develop into a thoughtful or well-informed question. So you see the trends of what is happening at the meantime, in the meantime you do that. Okay. What can we talk about here again? Let's see here. Okay, there are issues here talking about how do you add flavors to your advances. Okay, there was an example here. Okay, just in short, there's here just a few tips on some of the things that you can add in your advance write-up. Like here, talk about the following should be included in each advance you write. You could have the significance of the matchup. There's a game. How significant is that match that is coming? Will this game decide who goes to the playoffs? If it's a battle, this will be playoffs is like it's American football or like that, So you check the significance of the game, because sometimes the people just say there's going to be a match between Manchester United and Arsenal. without saying, okay, how significant is that game? Why is it important? Okay, not just because Manchester is known or Arsenal is known, but the game itself. When one of the team win, what is going to happen? Maybe on the long term. Maybe if it's a match game, what is going to happen after? Maybe one is going to win the title, or if it's Champions League, after winning, the team that is going to win this game, they are going to go to the next round. Or sometimes if they drew, they are going to go to the next. Or if maybe one team win with how many goals, it means I think I've seen scenarios where a team has won but is out of the competition. And say how? Well, sometimes people think like, oh, they want to excite you. Even if they can even win it against the big team. A small team was playing against the Real Madrid, PSG. They won, but I think it happened in the World Cup. This World Cup. What happened is Morocco, I think. It beat one of this. I think it beat between Argentina or Brazil. The last game it won. I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, it was Brazil. People will say it was I think it's not Senegal or whatever, but it beat Brazil. It has never happened before. Right? But now it was Brazil had already, I think, a specific number of points. So what they needed was I think they needed maybe one goal, or it depended on if they win with maybe a certain number of goals. So they won, but they did not win with that number of goals. So they went out. So you discover that even if they are won, people are not celebrating. So when you are reporting or you are not writing as if this team has won, as it's a big story. According to statistics, it's nothing. So that's why I'm saying that if it's an advance, you have to see, okay, what is the significance of this match? So you should be able to talk about all the possibilities. If this one win, this is what is going to happen. If this one lose, this is what is going to happen. If they draw, this is what is going to happen. So it's an important part of the advance. Then you think, you talk about like both teams' records. You talk about, as I already talked about, you talk about both team records, background of the rivalry, and the last year's score. Like what was the background of their rivalry? So that's what we're going to do. Right. So, as I'm saying, in the advance, you talk about the significance of the matchup. Then you talk about the statistics of both teams, right? The like records, the background of the rival. For example, if it's a rival, like Manchester United versus Arsenal, you know how many times did Arsenal beat Manchester? How many times did Manchester beat Arsenal? And now, how many times did they draw? For the past, maybe past matchups, maybe 4 matchups, which team won more than the other? So you talk about those. You talk about the key players. What are the key players between these two teams? These are the key players. There's this one, there's that one. And you talk about key players, and you talk about key statistics. What is the statistics? The key statistics between these teams. Then you talk about the injuries. Which players have been injured between these teams? And the starting lineup. Okay? These are the players that are going to, you inquire. So about through research. If you inquire, you get the details. They are going to tell you the players that are going to start up. Then after that, you're going to talk about style of play. I think if you have ever had watching the English Premier League, even in Malaysia, they will talk about a style of play, 4-4-2, 3-2 something. So that's the style of play. So you are giving people the picture to say, oh, this is how they're going to line up. Okay, this is the style of play. So you might even, based on the style of play, you might even decide, no, they're going to play like this. I think this team will have an advantage. Because they've got this player, that's got that player. Now, if they can line up like this, and you know that if they have got this player, the only way of really being successful is to have a line up like this. A style of play should be like that. So those are important information. And don't overlook advances and on other sports. Don't overlook like talk about other sports, because why this is important is that most of the times people think about you have advances in, let me say, football. But when it comes to tennis, and you discover they don't have much, they don't talk more. But say no, there shouldn't be also advances in sporting other sports like talking about tennis, golf, wrestling. Team might not attract the crowds that the football or the basketball teams, but they are putting forth as much effort, and often have a match at stake, and you're going to do that. Right, so quickly, when we talk about the League Cup is the game summary. Let's see here. Right. Okay. So this is the game summary. Right? Now after the game, because I'm saying if you are writing like for print, you cannot have a story during the game. You can't have it, isn't it? You're going to have the advance. You can have the league. Right? The actual game in progress is only in broadcast. So usually in broadcasting, what you do then you combine it, because in broadcast all this will be live. You could have the advance live. Before the game, 1 hour before, you could have this live. You have people on the air discussing issues. Then you have the actual game. So actual game is another topic where we're going to talk about, like that is now commentation now. What do you do when you are commenting? It's like a commentary. You are live, but still, you see, you be combining with the same issue, because commentary is like you're just saying what you're observing. But in the progress of saying what you're observing, you are going to be talking about the information, most of the information you gather here. This team has won how many times? So you discover during commentary, a lot of information that we are gathered during the elements are going to be presented in the program. But it's live. But the actual element of the program will be now the league, which is after the game. What is going to happen after the game? Now, as a sports writer, you often have the best seat in the house, because if it's going to be the football ground, you are not just placed anywhere. You have got a specific spot. Either they will place you near the actual ground, or there is a place whereby sports reporters are located. And all those places are places whereby you can see or watch the game clearly. No wonder they are placed in those places. Like in the stadiums, where you say it's a commentary box, that's what it's called. If you go there, you see the whole ground, and you will be able to see what is happening in the other goal, if it's a football match, and even what is happening in the other goal. No wonder you will be able to do commentary. Even at the Old Trafford, I saw where you have you'll be seeing the grass, and now you even have a TV, a plasma TV, showing the same game. That maybe somehow you're not seeing when they're doing all those replays, you can check. So it's a place whereby you are going to be able to see what is happening, right? So your job depends on the ability to see all the action with minimal distractions, right? You don't be distracted. No one, you're going to be having that chance of seeing whatever is happening, and your goal is to write second of the major game-related stories. So because the recap is a second of the major game-related stories, because the first one is going to be this one, the advance. But this recap is a second. Because as I said, you don't write, like in print, you don't write the game while it's in progress. It can't happen. It's either you're going to write here, this one and then this one, which is the second. So that's what you're going to be doing at this point. And a game summary or the recap of what is happening, part of the job will take you deep inside the game. All right. Here there's a quote by somebody who has been a sports journalist, was covering games, and what he said, my job is to take fans where they normally can't go, right? Well, that is what he was talking about. So, and that's what you see, wherever you are writing about it. You don't write, I think even sometimes you have been seeing that you watch the game, but what the commentator is saying, assuming that it was, on TV, but on print, he would be talking about some other things that you did not notice. There was so that's your aim. That you look at some other angles where you know that most of the people are going to miss this one. Okay? So that's this one is saying my job is to take fans where they normally can't go. The sidelines, the field, and the locker rooms, right? So they're going to be on the field, but they might not see much what is happening on the sidelines. You will hear, okay, maybe the coach was giving a red card. It was some silence. And they might not go into the locker rooms. Some other things will happen in the locker rooms, right? So himself will say that's his job, and I have the opportunity to interview the athletes and the coaches. They don't get a chance to talk to. You have to know how to use the amount of access that you are given. Right? So I would say for them as sports journalists, you are given an access that you could even interact with the athletes. So that's a chance that you cannot miss, because the listeners there, they don't have that chance to ask questions in this mode, to interact with these guys. So that's what you need to keep in mind. So that's what this guy, Lee Banknet, a football and basketball beat writer for the Omaha World Herald. He was talking about his duties, what he does. Right? So with access, though comes responsibility. First, it depends on you to provide insight into bad news, right? Meaning there could be crucial, I need to talk about some other issues which is not good news. So you should be able to give that insight and as well as the good news, right? So most likely if you are curious about something, your readers will be curious too. And almost anything that grabs fans' attention at the games deserves at least a brief description and explanation in your game. So you are going to be able, that, as I'm saying, we will see some other times where the game was going and then an animal just passed through the ground and the game movie was stopped and people were talking about it. So say issues like those, they might be small, but if the fans were talking about in your lineup, they should have a space. You are not going to dwell on that, but you could include it somewhere else, and it would even have significance, because like in Malawi, we had some other times where the people, they believed that some matches, the teams use juju in their matches. They believe in that. So if they say maybe there was that belief of the juju, and then you say maybe there was a brief moment when an animal emerged from one team, and then it passed. So now maybe that was the team that is suspicious, suspected to be. So then if you say, people they'll say, no, this is the same thing people say that they used to do, and now this happened. Maybe it's the same. So they're going to connect. So there might be small issues, but you just make sure that if you know that the fans were interested in that during the game, that you should include it in your story. That's how But I'm saying you don't have to dwell much about it, but just make sure that you put it somewhere, right? They talk about what else did I talk about here? The key players may call for more elaboration, and how and should you decide which players are crucial. So maybe some knowledge that you don't just talk about each player, you talk about those crucial plays of the game, and you should prepare to ask pointed questions about these particular moments, the moments that you noted. When the game ends, a writer on deadline needs to get good quotations quickly. So that's now where your answer, the answer of your question you are asking. Then should we ask a question after the game? That's why you say when the game ends, a writer on deadline needs to get good quotations quickly. Because when you just go and ask immediately after the game, people say things. Sometimes they might say something that could be a good quotation, could be a good quote. Afterwards, because maybe they have come down, they might prepare well to know what to talk about. So they might tell you something which is not that interesting. But immediately after the game, you as a person you know that after this game I'm going to write a story. You ask questions then you get quotations. Good quotations, and then you include that one in your writing. So that's how important it is. So to get these quotes, the writer must ask tough questions. You see? It means what you do, you don't just ask ordinary questions. You make sure that the game has ended, ask tough questions. Those athletes or players. And they are going to give you a very good response that you will have a good quote. You see? Because the questions are not just ordinary. And after all, who wants to talk about a loss? And you know, as I'm saying, that's why you get the good questions from the losing. No wonder it's possible to say, ordinary people think, okay, there were two teams that were playing. Now, a team has won, then you go to the team that has won. But I say, experts will tell you, the losers makes good stories. If you want to have a story that's going to be much more exciting, don't focus much on the winner, but focus on the loser. If you want to get a good cause, this winner is exciting. So somehow it's going to say most of the obvious things. But when you ask a loser, there's going to be a lot of things. No, the coach the reef was not fair. Maybe there was much fixing. All this, so you're going to have a lot of issues from this losing side as you compare it with the winning side. So I know sometimes you debate on maybe it's a trophy. So on the trophy, maybe the significance, because you need to weigh in. Say, okay, what's the significance? As I talked about, what is the significance of the game? The significance of the game. If it's a final, it means the significance is one team is going to win the cup. So when you concentrate more on the winner, in that circumstance, it's not a problem, not much problem, because it's the most significant thing. But if it's just other games, you could know that no. If this one I can ask the losing team or coach, I'm going to get a lot of exciting odds. Then we're going to do that. And as you say, I'm saying, don't just ask basic questions. Ask questions that are going to provoke these people. Because they are not happy themselves to say they have lost the game, they have to be speaking to the press. That they are usually furious about it. Right? So sometimes you get an angry response. Right? As I've already said that people are angry, right? Sometimes you won't even get an answer. You ask, you don't get an answer. Sometimes you get an angry response, right? And generally, though, if a question is legitimate, coaches and players who are going to be willing to cooperate to give you at least an answer to what you're asking, right? So something like that. Okay, let's see. I think we have is I can because did you manage to get those documents? I sent
No.
because did you? I sent files on the page. What you are not there? So why are you being without being added? Why are you on the tab not being there? See, you say you have your number now. You can access the group through the phone, through your laptop. But I mean, all this since that time you did not access the group. You did check it. Oh, okay. Let me say. It's not that maybe sometimes. No. It's a must that you should. It's a requirement. The way you come to class, because you are coming to class, it's a must that you should make sure that if I've sent something on the group, make sure that you have a chance. It's all about a will. If you can say I want to be there, you will be there. You see? So I'm saying I sent this a file. I don't believe I will check it, but I sent it. I said it was like a module. There's even a book. One of the book is where I did all these are there. So I wanted to just tell you that imagine you were downloading. I would say that I wanted you to just read this because it's after I have told you the topic and then you even know this is the topic. It's there. So I wanted to say still for me with the time you don't have time. I don't want to come to the other class and to start a big here. I wanted the other class to start another batch. So with this three, what was remaining was the post-game analysis. So I wanted you to just check on the post-game analysis. What did they talk about? I will talk about it, but I wanted just to talk about it quickly when I can, then proceed because we already have the materials in. Yeah. So so I think you see after what remains here. But let me see what remains. But all the post-game analysis, you're going to find out things like when you are because that was an analysis of it. You don't just speak like I mean, don't write like you're just writing a normal story. They say you don't want to make like what they say don't let me see here. They say the same. They say what's the game analysis? Where is it? They say don't just make your readers see. However, make them hear the crack of the heart. Whatever I'm saying, you use that expression to let them visualize. It's more like you are painting a picture to say that they don't just see there was a goal. No. How the goal was scored. They should be able to know. Maybe the leg was bending this way, even the net shook in this way. People will and they will as if they are looking at the actual game. So that's how you go about it. So I think you talk about it later on, and then there's one of the remaining here was like he also jargon, sports jargon. As I say, you talk about good sports writing depends on the same writing and the reporting techniques and many other areas of use. But in addition to the following basic style rules, sports writers must also deal with the unique terminology of each sport. So I think this one I talked about in sometimes, whereby I say, based on what you are reporting on, you need to be careful of the jumble. Because sometimes you might make a mistake whereby you forgot that each and every sporting discipline has got a specific jumble or language that is used. So don't mistake to talk about basketball. They have scored. That's not the jumble. Football, they have dunked. That's not. So let's do that. So what I'm going to do, you make sure that you just go on the office. The document are still there. You go. If you did not find them, you communicate. You said you have the phone. So how come are you added in another group of the class in the meantime? Why? In the past you were added, I think. So what happens now? no. It's surprising. It's not supposed to be me. I didn't even notice, but it's, you know how important those groups. Those are important groups. Why? For example, I might come late. I communicate. Even today, I send a message and I didn't know. I said, I'm coming. I don't know who saw that. So I'm coming late because I was caught up somewhere. So if I want to send, sometimes I want to send information like my documents like this, because the code, as I told you, there are some even other books. In class, we are limited. We have a limited time. I cannot talk about everything. So if I talk about a certain topic, I'll give you a book. You could go to the book and check, okay, what is it? What did I not talk about? So, or you do that. So it's important to make sure. So make an effort to make sure that you have gone there and check.